Welcome to Achieve More with Athens Tech, the official podcast of Athens Technical College. This is where you'll discover how the programs of Athens Tech can connect you with in-demand and high-paying careers. Today, we are going to learn about the Drafting Technology program and the Engineering Technology program. Drafters' drawings provide visual guidelines and show how to construct a product or structure. Drawings include technical details and specify dimensions, materials, and procedures. Drafters fill in technical details using drawings, rough sketches, specifications, and calculations made by engineers, surveyors, architects, or scientists. Most drafters use computer-aided design and drafting or CAD systems to prepare drawings. Electromechanical engineering technicians combine a knowledge of mechanical technology with knowledge of electrical systems and electronic circuits. They install, troubleshoot, repair, and upgrade electronic and computer-controlled mechanical systems such as robotic assembly machines. Environmental engineer technicians carry out the plans that environmental engineers develop. They test, operate, and if necessary, modify equipment for preventing or cleaning up the environmental pollution. They may collect samples for testing, or they may mitigate sources of environmental pollution. They also work with the industry to implement safety procedures and green practices. Now let's talk to one of our engineering students, Alexander Lang.
My name is Alex Lang. I'm an electromechanical engineering student. This is my second year at Athens Tech, and I graduate in December. The long-term goal is to work for the railroad, whether that be Norfolk Southern or CSX. I've just always grown up liking trains, wanting to be around them, and the pay is really good, just so happens to be that way, and benefits are good, so I think it'd be great for both me and my future family.
Yeah, that sounds like an awesome career choice, Alex. Was your love of trains what led you to Athens Tech?
My journey to Athens Tech is actually a little bit more complicated than just liking trains. I originally went to Kennesaw State University. COVID ended up hitting. And so we all got kicked out of our dorms, and I don't do super well with online classes. So when they announced that everything was going to be online the following semester as well, I actually just stayed home and transferred to Athens Tech. That way I could be in person.
Yeah, I imagine a lot of students would prefer in-person to online classes. So in a lot of your classes, is it mostly individual work, or do you get to collaborate with other students?
It has been both. With labs that we do, we always work in groups of 2 or 3. There are some individual things, but typically it's with either the whole class sometimes, or but usually just 2 or 3 people. And most of my classes in my major are taught by Dr. Roberts, and he does a fantastic job of getting everyone involved and trying to get us all talking.
So it sounds like the faculty are very helpful and encouraging.
Yes, super helpful. Like I said, Dr. Roberts has been my professor and advisor. So he's been my professor for almost all of my major specific classes. He's fantastic. He actually will get job postings that the companies will send him, and he'll let us know, hey, this company's hiring this type of engineer. And then outside of Dr. Roberts, in the career department, I've had some help trying to get internships and such like that, getting contacts from them. I've done a CLEP test before, which is where you get credit by taking a test. And that was super easy. Everyone was very nice when I went and did that.
It sounds like Alex has had a really great experience as an engineering student. Now, let's talk to a drafting student, Jacob Robertson, and see what his experience was like.
My name is Jacob Robertson. I am a drafting technology student at Athens Technical College. I'm going into my final semester for that degree program. It's taken me 2 years to do it, relatively quick. Granted, it's an associate's degree, so that's how it works. But looking forward to finishing that up, getting my degree. I'm actually using the opportunity just, through going through Athens Tech, I've just decided that I want to do mechanical engineering. So using the classes I've taken at Athens Tech, my plan is to use some of those transferable credits and actually attend UGA next fall after getting my associate to get a mechanical engineering degree from UGA.
Oh wow, sticking around Athens. You must really like this area.
I actually grew up in Athens. I I moved here when I was 6, and that's been 20 years ago. So I actually graduated across the street from where I'm working currently, Oconee County High School, back in 2014. And I took a little bit of a break after high school and was working full time for various companies. And once I turned 24, I decided, hey, I think I've got it a little more narrowed as far as what I want to do with myself. So I was thinking, the best option for me, especially, I'm the type of person who likes getting their hands on stuff. I started with technical drafting, doing 3D modeling for woodworking projects. Woodworking is just a little side hobby, and using that 3D modeling, to me available at the time was Google SketchUp. And it was just a 3D modeling software. I'd design, shelves, tables, that sort of stuff, and take the measurements from the 3D models and construct essentially what I had designed. And from that process, I realized that, hey, the creative aspect of 3D modeling, that's something I enjoy doing. How could I transfer that into a set of skills that I could apply to, a job market? And that leads you to drafting, taking models and translating it between, design and how can this be constructed.
It sounds like you really like to work with your hands, and Athens Tech has given you that opportunity.
Yeah, like I said, I really enjoy working with my hands and getting hands-on knowledge for what I want to do. And the thing with a lot of bigger universities, non-tech related fields, is that theirs is all, it's not hands-on stuff for the most part. Well, it depends on what you're going to school for, but it's all like, you can get an English degree, or you can, learn math. Basically, you're not getting a degree that translates immediately to the real world. I can go to Athens Tech and get a degree in electrical work. Cool. I can graduate and now I'm an electrician. I can get a degree in plumbing. I can get a degree in nursing. I go straight into the nursing field with that. I can get a degree in culinary arts if I want to do that. I can get a degree in cosmetology. I can get a degree in technical drafting. I can get a degree in machining. I can get a degree in welding. I can get a degree, but you're always going to need people who can take all this theoretical stuff and make it realistic, right? You can take the people who can design the objects, but you need somebody who can translate these designs into the real world, right? How do you bring those forth? The people who can tell you, hey, that's how something is supposed to be, or that's how something is designed. Its theoretical ability, this piece that I've made is, it should be able to withstand this much energy, or it should be able to hold up under these conditions. They can't always create that thing, make it real, right? Well, you need somebody like me with a technical drafting degree to take this design from the theoretical space and bring it into how can this be made, right?
I really loved what Jacob had to say there. Now let's talk to a graduate of the program, Zach Hayner, about his experience.
Hello, my name is Zach Hayner. I attended Athens Technical College in the drafting program from 2014 to 2017. I currently work at Exactech, which is an orthopedic implant and instrumentation company. I currently hold the role of designer, which was a promotion from drafter. So now I actually design and for manufacture all the instruments and instrumentation for knee, hip, ankle, and shoulder arthroplasty, along with a few trauma instruments that are more for, as trauma may indicate, shattered bones. When I first started thinking about going back to school, I was in my early 30s. And at the time, I was working in retail as, well, life does what life does. And I needed to change. So given that I was living in Athens, Georgia, my choice was to either move or attend a 4-year or a 2-year. At early 30s, I thought, well, a 2-year degree path is going to be a lot better. So I went ahead and enrolled, and rolled the dice there somewhat, and chose the drafting design program, in that it was it appealed to my meticulous nature. I've always been computer oriented in a lot of ways. So blending those two things together, I landed where I am now, where I work on computers as an occupation. And as far as the meticulousness of it, I typically now live in the 3 to 4 decimal place of precision.
What was it like going back to school being in your 30s?
Well, going back to my mid-30s was somewhat terrifying to engage in that kind of debt at that point in my life. But when I got into the program, I met with the program chair, Tanya. She was very encouraging and professional, and really gave me a good idea of what the expectations were for the program and placement thereafter.
How much of this program is hands-on versus how much is lecture-based?
As far as lecture versus hands-on, when it comes to drafting, those things blend fairly well in that there is very little bit of lecture that cannot be immediately applied into what we're doing, in that we can talk about geometric dimensioning and tolerancing, which is a language within itself for engineering and drafting that geometrically define parts based on a certain criteria. That said, it is as complex as it may sound to three-dimensionally define something. And that theory has to be applied immediately in our drafting, in that those things are, you can't really divide lecture and practice. And from my experience, I had lots of free time between classes in that I was a part-time student and working part-time. So when I would have morning classes and then an early afternoon class, I just lived in the drafting lab and I just played in the software. The ones that we used there were AutoCAD, SolidWorks, and Inventor. I got most familiar with SolidWorks. In fact, the first thing I designed in SolidWorks was actually the 8-bit Nintendo Mario 3 cartridge with the chip inside it. When it comes to the technology at Athens Tech and the literature and software, etc., I have found that they are either on the curve or slightly ahead of it. Given my first job which was actually an internship that turned into a full-time position, once I graduated, they were using an older version of AutoCAD, roughly 5 years older than the current year. So that said, in that company, I brought them up to speed into SolidWorks. So that's going from the 2-dimensional drafting field to the 3-dimensional design and drafting field. And my familiarity with SolidWorks came directly from Athens Tech.
I can't think of a much more ringing endorsement than that an intern was able to take his company into the next level. All of these students have just been so great, but as we all know, students are just part of what makes Athens Tech so special. Let's get an instructor's perspective. Here is engineering instructor Aaron Watwood.
My name is Aaron Watwood. I am an instructor for engineering technology here at Athens Tech. I'm over the civil and environmental engineering specializations. We have 4 areas of specialization underneath engineering technology. So I'm over the civil and environmental, and then Dr. Ken Roberts is over the electrical and electromechanical, kind of a blend of electrical and mechanical. It will be 8 years this December. And so, yeah, I've been here teaching full-time for a while.
This podcast is about the drafting program and the engineering program, but how do those two programs actually work together?
All of our students, all the engineering technology students, have to take at least one drafting class as part of our curriculum and our program, because we use drafting for a lot of stuff. So like for civil and environmental engineering students, we use a version of AutoCAD Civil 3D, a bunch. We use it a bunch in a lot of my classes. So basically having drafting skills is very important for engineers and for engineering technicians as well. So one of the things to kind of make a distinction between is what we offer at Athens Tech is engineering technology. It's an associate's degree, Associate of Applied Science. If you were to go to a university, you would study engineering. What we do, our students will become engineering technicians or technologists. They will work with the engineers to help carry out either the design or the project, or be kind of the boots on the ground for the day-to-day work that has to be done. And so being very versed in things like drafting programs and different computer programs and the tools and machinery or whatever that we're interacting with is very important for our students and for those future employers as well. We use a lot of math in engineering, but I'm like, we don't do math for just the sake of solving a math problem because we want to. There's a point to it. There's a purpose. We're trying to solve a puzzle in what we're doing. We're trying to apply it to something or figure out how something works and then how to improve on that or how to build on that. And so it's kind of your math and your science with a purpose that's focused in that way. So really anybody that, if it's something that you like to tinker with things, you maybe like to build things, you maybe like to go beyond just playing on a computer, but maybe you like to be able to try to draw or draft things on a computer, or maybe you've done some type of computer program where you kind of get into it and you start to do a little bit of programming in it. Any of those things are kind of indicators and leading towards, hey, these are things that we do and build upon in engineering.
Okay, let's talk about the big question that everybody has. What kind of money can graduates of this program make?
Part of our program is an internship. Okay, so students, when they get towards the end of the program, the associate degree program, they will oftentimes link up with a company or an organization, and they will end up interning there. Okay, most of the time, even those are paid. And once they then finish with the program, sometimes they have jobs that continue at the same place they had an internship. Even if they don't, it's something that they can put down on their resume. It gives them experience, and it helps to then launch into what their career is going to be. Students are starting out with benefits in the $40,000 range. And some, start out with more than that. And that's with really only maybe an internship of experience that they have.
Thank you, Aaron. That was super informative. Now, let's go back to the drafting side and talk to Program Chair Tanya Trapp.
My name is Tanya Trapp, and I am the Program Chair here at Athens Technical College for Drafting Technology. My background is architectural engineering. I graduated back in 1991, so it's been a minute, but used to work for myself, and then I realized I wanted to retire one day, so needed some benefit packages, so I got into the education world.
And what is drafting technology?
It is computer-aided design. Drafting is a little bit outdated term. So our students learn how to do mechanical drawings, engineering drawings, architectural drawings. So they learn all the different CAD aspects to it. We use Revit for architectural. We use SolidWorks for the mechanical side. And then we still have the plain 2D features of AutoCAD that we teach our students.
So what kind of careers can students who get their degree in this go on to do?
They go on to work in like manufacturing, or they go to work with architects. Basically anything that's made, somebody has to have a plan to make those objects or those things. So they, I've had them go way out there. I've had some that went into jewelry design. I've had some that's gone into car design, but primarily it would be more mechanical and architectural based.
That's fascinating to me that you have this program and you can take it and you can do anything from designing a tiny piece of jewelry to a huge car.
Exactly.
So are classes in the drafting program mostly in person or online, or is it a little bit of both?
We hold our classes primarily as hybrids because we do the demo in the front end, but the way you learn this industry or this technique or program is by using the software, by getting in there and using it. So, I do have some that do it online because we're very in demand right now. So a lot of my students are already working. So I do make it flexible so that they can't come in to do the long labs, and they're able to, do the hybrid part online. That's one good thing about being an Athens Tech student is you get all the software for free by being a registered student.
Are a lot of your students, more of the traditional student where they came straight from high school to Athens Tech, or do you have a lot of older students that are coming back to school?
I would say it's probably about a 50-50%. I mean, I get, of course, those high school kids right out of high school, but then a lot of them are folks that have maybe been in the construction trade or, been in the outdoors in their field, and now they're ready to find something they can sit in front, sit in a house or an environment that's a little bit easier to work with, and they come back and they learn, because drafting is something you can do as long as you feel like, getting into a CAD program and doing design work. I mean, I hope that, when I retire, I want to continue doing house plans because it's just fun. It's just, fascinating to keep up with industry and what's going on out there.
And is this a program that when you start and you kind of start learning some things, you can maybe get an internship or get a part-time job while you're in school and start to earn a little bit of money?
Absolutely. We have several companies that are calling pretty much every semester wanting an intern, because if the students have the skills, that way they can build the skills that they need along with what we're teaching, and then that gets them in the job faster.
And now the question that's on everybody's mind: what kind of money can drafting graduates make?
My students are seeing in the $50,000 to $65,000 starting out range. I know the last two that were employed, one, he gained employment at $65,000, and the other one was I think in the $54,000-$55,000 range. So it's pretty lucrative. We're, being a technical college, we're very competitive, plus your textbooks. And then, like I said, the software you get for free by being a student. So it's not that much out of pocket for what you could benefit making in just a couple of years.
So how, through the drafting or engineering program, can you achieve more with Athens Tech?
We are more geared into getting someone into what they want to go out and do. Like the bigger schools, you go through all the Englishes and the maths and all, which we have some of that here, but it's much smaller because our programs are more based into getting you into those classes that teach you what you're going to go out and do for a job. So we have, I think in the degree program, I think there's only 5 core classes you have to take, like your English and your math, history, and then the rest of it are all CAD-based program classes where you learn the program to do your job with.
Thanks for listening to Achieve More with Athens Tech, the official podcast of Athens Technical College. For more information on the drafting program and the engineering program, be sure to visit athenstech.edu.